Okay. Firstly, Nigel Mathers said Pink Floyd The Wall. Now, have you seen that one? I haven't seen Pink Floyd The Wall, but certainly I know that we went to the House of Illustration at King's Cross
a
couple of weeks ago.
Lake stuff.
Yeah, and it was there was a exhibition on Pink Floyd's The Wall that was really interesting, so it's good. But Nigel liked it because it shows how everyone's life is muddled by the things, not muddled, moulded by the things that happen to them as they grow up, and how life can be so fragile. It inspires Nigel to be different, to understand why people act and react in the way they do, to enjoy life as it happens, and to try and help others understand the same. And as a life philosophy, that don't sound too bad, does it, Charlotte?
It's very philosophical.
Very philosophical approach to a movie, isn't it? I like that.
Yes.
So I'm going to add Pink Floyd The Wall to my list.
Yeah.
John Cook's commented.
Whoop, whoop.
You're a friend of mine, John, who has commented on It's a Wonderful Life, which admittedly is a classic inspirational film
That neither of us have seen.
Neither of us have seen it, so we need to fix that soonish, don't we? Andrew Phillips said The Greatest Showman.
I love that movie.
Not The Greatest Gift, which was a Sainsbury's advert last year for Christmas, wasn't it? Now, I haven't seen The Greatest Showman. I do like The Greatest Gift, only because it's the song from it was written by one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords.
And it was written, it was sung by...
James Corden did it, didn't he?
Was.
Yeah. So you've got the Sainsbury's advert, The Greatest Gift. You've got the film about P.T. Barnum, The Greatest Showman. And you have seen that, haven't you?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Oh my god, it was beautiful. I almost cried at certain bits. Yeah.
Okay, so it was... what was so inspiring about it?
One, it was a musical, and if you guys don't know, I'm a musical addict.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if that's the right word to use, but I love musicals.
I don't know if you can be addicted to musicals, like you sort of wander in the streets going, where's my next musical? I don't think you can do that.
I do
Okay.
sometimes. But, and also because it's got a lot of messages to it, like, the thought of, at the beginning he kind of wants to build something for his family. He creates his own family in the shape of the circus, and he kind of throws it all away, even if it's just for a moment or a millisecond. He throws it away
because of his own ego. Because he
wants more. Because he wants more money, more fame.
But then he goes back.
He goes back.
Yeah.
And makes it all up.
You know what? That is a good story, because I think the reality of it is there's nothing more important than the people you love.
And the people who love you.
True. Very true. Claire Walsh said Forrest Gump.
I haven't seen it.
Now, I have seen it, and I absolutely love that film. I'll do you a deal. I'll see The Greatest Showman.
Yes, please.
If you watch Forrest Gump, because I think you will absolutely love it.
Oh, go ahead.
Tamsin Kane said Pay It Forward, a film I haven't seen, but I know the principle of it. It's about the idea that if somebody does a good deed for you...
You do a good deed for them?
No, you do a good deed for somebody else. Okay. So you always pay it forward, so that good deed effectively carries on. So we might be talking about the principle of Pay It Forward in a future podcast, so that's good. And Justin Gaffney came back with a really interesting story, but a really unusual film to get inspired about. Sixth Sense. Have you ever heard of The Sixth Sense?
No, I haven't.
So it's a thriller film with a massive surprise at the end. And I know Sixth Sense is like sort of... The Sixth Sense is years and years old, but I'm not going to spoil it in case you want to see it, Charlotte. So, but let me give you the reason. I'm not a big fan of horror movies anyway. Sixth Sense, Justin Gaffney says, is inspirational. Why? For various reasons. Firstly, it was in the States. I saw it in the States several months before it opened here in the UK. It was at the end of a 10-day fly drive holiday. I'd taken with a friend to Boston. It was a great holiday. We arrived in sunshine, and within the 10 days had seen the leaves on the trees change and drop, and left with snow on the ground. Seeing that sort of seasonal... I don't know what it's got to do with the film at this point, but seeing that seasonal change must be quite good. Sorry?
Maybe it reminds him of it.
Maybe. However, we were departing on Columbus weekend, which is at the end of October, and there was no accommodation available for our final night in Boston for our early morning flights back to London. Therefore, we returned a hire car and decided to kill time by going to a 24/7 cinema near the airport. We decided to see The Sixth Sense, having no idea that the movie was about, but just seeing it was a Bruce Willis movie. And therefore, he thought it was going to be an action adventure. So he thought he was going to go in and see something like Die Hard or
Guns
Loopers
blazing.
or guns blazing and helicopters and all of that sort of stuff. So he thought it was an action adventure. Being naive meant that watching it was all the more scarier. However, the reason I like it is it addresses issues of our mortality, death and dying, love and relationships, and conquering your fears. The acting of Willis and the young boy was amazing. So I think a movie doesn't necessarily have to be traditionally inspirational for you to get inspiration from it, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a good one. Chris Laney, who is probably one of the kindest people I know, has just come back and said Pete Dragon, which I think is an old Disney film. But have you seen that?
Old Disney film?
Yeah.
No, it's not an old Disney film. It's got like really good CGI.
Pete Dragon?
Pete Dragon. No.
What are you thinking of?
Pete Dragon. I think that's the one. With
Are you thinking of the famous movie Steve Dragon?
no.
Is it Alan
the
Dragon
movie
you're
about the
thinking
boy
of?
and they find him in the woods, and like he says he can't leave the dragon, and like the dragon ends up burning down. Bridge ends up burning down, something like that.
I don't. Do you remember what that film's called?
I think it's called Pete's Dragon.
Oh, it might be. So, have you seen it then?
It might be a remake.
It might be. It might be a remake. Has it got Nicolas Cage in?
No.
Oh, I'll give it a watch. No worries. And then Kathleen Keat said Cinema Paradiso, which I still haven't seen. So we had a lot of responses to the movie question, and feel free to answer either the movie question or any of our ongoing podcast questions of the week, particularly one about eggs, because I really like that one.
Tell us if you like Nicolas Cage or not as well.
Well, look, let's be honest. I don't expect many responses telling us that you love Nicolas Cage, but if there are Nicolas Cage fans out there, I'm open to persuasion. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm open to persuasion. However, let's talk about our listeners' acts of kindness. And I've got two really small ones this week.
Uh-huh.
Raj Shah
Yes.
said he opted to feed 12 homeless people in Sheffield this year instead of sending a load of Christmas cards.
Yep.
Now, I think that's a really good use of money you'd spend anyway in a far better way.
Yeah.
Don't you? What do you
Yeah.
think of that idea?
Yeah, I like that idea because what I do, I don't send like loads and loads and loads of Christmas cards. You know, most people they send like, oh, I know everybody. Let's send Christmas cards to everyone. I just send Christmas cards to the people I actually think I'm really close to. So I'll send them to like a couple of friends.
But would you make a donation elsewhere to...
Yeah, I would save the money and donate elsewhere. I just send them like Merry Christmas through a text or something.
Send them a text. Look, Snapchat, WhatsApp.
Don't
you know,
use Snapchat.
There's a million things that we can do. You can Instagram them, you can Twitter them, you can do whatever you want, and save the money and feed homeless people. So I like that idea. Mm-hmm. And Sam Lynn had a bit of a personal one. She said, Shona, who I work with, bought me dog food last night, so I'd have one less thing to worry about in a busy week. What do you think of that one?
Simple. Yeah, good.
Simple, but also like sort of showing that the small stuff actually makes a huge difference. It's the stuff that people remember. So I really like that one. So that's it for another show. That's genuinely it now for another show. Until next week, see you soon.
Bye.